Welcome back, everyone. Hi, I'm Angie with Harmony Yoga, and we're going to be working at the wall today. Why the wall? The wall is another great prop that you can use to get deeper into your practice. Today, our focus is going to be on the glutes, the inner, the outer thighs, and the core. So a really great time of the year to really get this time invested in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. Let's do this. So before we start our practice, if you have a couple of blocks, go ahead and grab your blocks. If you have a blanket, also another nice thing to add to your practice. If you don't have those things, you can just come straight to your practice, and make sure today that you have a wall to use. So this is one of the most important parts of this practice today is have a wall that you can use. If you don't, you can always take this practice, it'll be on YouTube. You can take this to a wall where you do have an available wall. All right, so for those of you joining me today, let's do this. So we're going to start today's practice with another reading from Soul to Soul. Go ahead and get comfortable. Take a moment here. Go ahead and get all the things that you need for your practice. And this is, know the sweet joy of living in the way. Live in joy. Live in love, even among those who hate. Live in joy, in health, even among those afflicted. Live in joy, in peace, even among the troubled. Look within, be still, free from fear and attachment. Know the sweet joy of living the way. There is no fire like greed, no crime like hatred, no sorrow like hunger of heart, and no joy like the joy of freedom. Health, contentment, and trust are your greatest possessions, and freedom your greatest joy. Look within, be still, free from fear and attachment. Know the sweet joy of living in the way. To the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. And with that, let's go ahead and start our practice. So we're going to start our practice with Vikriti Karani, legs up the wall. And you can use a blanket folded at the end of your mat toward the wall. You can also use a bolster. I personally just like to come straight up on the wall. It feels good on my low back. But again, I want you to try coming up and down a couple of times, and then put the props under your body that feel just the best for today. So when you're ready, you'll just go ahead and start with one hip of the wall. You'll swing one leg and then the other, all the way up the wall. Now if your hamstrings are a little bit tight today, you can move away from the wall just a bit and find that just right spacing for your body. You can go ahead and rotate through the feet, move the ankles from side to side, and then just take a moment or two and get situated. Begin to find that sense of stillness. You can rest a hand on the abdomen and a hand on the heart. You can rest your arms at your sides. You can put both hands in the belly. And as you begin to move through the body, you begin to allow the eyes to soften and close. Begin to close off outside distractions and draw your awareness inward. As we move into this practice to start today, this is a wonderful practice for calming the mind. It brings us back to balance. It balances both high and low blood pressure and brings us into a state of being grounded. So we're going to ground a little bit before starting our practice. And as you come into this space, begin to observe the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe naturally in and out. As you inhale, creating space in mind and body, and as you release the breath, mindfully allowing the breath to release from the body. So just starting with natural breath, just watching the ebb and flow of breath. And as you continue to deepen the breath, begin to allow the breath to slow and deepen. So letting the breath move a little deeper into the base of the lungs. As you inhale, begin to feel the expansion of lungs from side to side, front to back, top to bottom. Observe the breath as it begins to draw it to the heart space. Pause at heart space. Love, kindness, and compassion for yourself and others. And as you release the breath, share that sense of love, kindness, and compassion with the world. Again, begin to inhale, expanding the lungs from side to side, front to back, top to bottom. Breathe deep. Drawing the breath upward, maybe reaching the base of the throat. Pausing here for a bit of breath retention, and audibly or silently release the breath, let it go. So we're going to move through a few rounds of this deeper belly breathing. You can place a hand on the abdomen and a hand on the heart for directed breath. You can place both hands on the abdomen, or you can find any place, maybe even bringing arms up overhead, grabbing onto a wrist. So again, a lot of options for placement of the arms. So we're just going to breathe here for just a few more rounds of breath, just letting our bodies settle into this position, balancing left and right, front and back, and top to bottom. And then on your next inhale, if you'd like to set an intention for this practice, for your day, for the week, now is an opportunity to do so. An intention is anything meaningful to you. It allows your mind to focus. Maybe it creates a sense of stillness, maybe motivation, maybe your energy and vitality, or maybe a sense of compassion and tenderness. So whatever it is that you need today, take a moment and allow these words to form in your mind. We'll take one more breath at heart space. And as you exhale, send the positive vibration of this intention out with the world. So we draw in the positive and we share the positive vibrations with the world. We'll take one more just like that. And as you exhale, mindfully releasing that breath, go ahead and begin to add some movement to the body. You can rotate through the ankles. And then from here, we're going to begin to widen the space in between the legs, coming into Upavista Konasana, a nice wide-legged space. Feet are active, and just beginning to feel the inner line of the legs. So taking a few rounds of breath here, just allowing yourself to open with your breath. We'll take one more breath here, and then mindfully begin to bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet together in a bound angle. Knees fall out to the side, soles of the feet come together. And breathe. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. Place your hands on your knees and begin to draw the knees together. And then just begin to bring our body back onto our mat until you come into about a 90-degree bend. Feet are placed about hip distance apart. There we go. And then we're going to start by opening up through the right hip. We'll cross the right leg over the left, and we'll begin to hinge through that right leg. So drawing the knee toward the body and away, just bringing a little bit of movement and flow into that right hip. The next time the right knee falls out to the side, go ahead and pause here. You can even place your hand to the inside of that thigh, drawing it gently away. So not forcing, just helping to direct the energy out through the knee, opening up through the right hip. I'm going to pause here for a breath or two, just allowing the body to open. And then we're going to begin to add a little bit more to the practice. We're going to interlace the hands behind the back of the head. Elbows fall out to the side. As you inhale, the breath draws the body up. Now the elbows don't come together. They stay nice and out to the side. So you're not torquing the elbows together to force yourself up. They're staying out to the side. And if this is your lift today, that's exactly where you need to go. As you exhale, release down. Inhale, draws up. Exhale, releases down. Inhale, drawing up. Exhale, releases down. Inhale, draws up. Exhale, releases down. Inhale, we bring yourself up. And exhale, release down. We'll go ahead and move through 5 more at your pace, following the cadence of your breath. And last one here, and release it down. We'll go ahead and uncross the feet, the legs, and if you need to create any movement, you can just create a little bit of movement to release that. We're going to go ahead and bring that same movement to the other side. So your feet are pressing firmly into the wall, feet spaced about hip distance apart, and then we'll begin to cross the left leg over the right. Again, you can place your hand in the inner line of the left thigh, drawing it toward the body and away. So not forcing, just allowing the body to move with the breath. The next time the left knee falls out to the side, we're going to pause here. Go ahead and activate that left foot by pressing equally between the ball and the heel. Interlace the hands behind the back of the head, and again we'll breathe. As you inhale, the breath draws us up, and as you exhale, releases down. Inhale, drawing up. Exhale, releases down. We've got about 10 more of these to go or so. Last 3, last 2, and last 1. Let's go ahead and release it down. We'll uncross the legs. And then from here, we're going to begin to press the feet into the wall. We're going to go about 80% of your potential. You'll start with the feet pressing into the wall. The tailbone stays rooted, so we're not lifting the hips up off the mat. The tailbone is rooted. Starting with the feet, about 80% of potential. Pressing the feet, you begin to feel your legs fire up. You'll begin to feel your glutes fire up, and lastly the core. So pressing about 80% of your maximum. So really feeling that nice, strong activation, legs, glutes, and core. So as we're pressing into the wall, we're not holding the breath. So keep your breath flowing with your body. And release. And go ahead and find a little bit of movement, whatever feels really good to you. You can extend a leg long. And then we'll come back into that 90-degree bend of the legs. Feet set about hip distance apart. When you're ready, begin to press your feet into the wall, about 80% of your maximum. So starting with the feet, moving into the legs, the glutes, and then lastly the core. Head, neck, and spine nice and relaxed here. And release. We'll go ahead and walk our legs down the wall. I'm going to slide all the way back so our legs are extended out, body's extended out, but your feet have full contact with the mat. So having that full contact with your mat. Let's take a moment here. We're going to reach the arms up overhead, coming into a full body stretch, reaching out with the fingers and the toes. We'll take one more big breath here, and as you exhale, draw the right knee into the body. Now, if you have any pain in the low back, you can certainly bend that left knee to protect your low back. Hands can be interlaced on top of the knee or behind the knee. And we'll begin to draw the right knee closer to the right shoulder. You can begin to make some ankle rotations, both clockwise and counterclockwise. And coming into flexion, drawing the toes toward the body and away. And hug that knee in one more time. And then we're going to place the left hand on the outside edge of the right knee and help it glide across the body. The knee falls to the left side of your mat and your right arm comes out to the side. You can begin to bring your gaze across the body, looking toward your right hand as the knee begins to fall to the left. Head, neck, and shoulders are rooted to the earth. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. We inhale back to center. Hug that knee in one more time. Extend the leg long, walk your hands up the back line of the leg, and then as you exhale, release arm and leg, full body stretch. And you might need to adjust as you come into this practice because you may find yourself moving away from the wall. So I really want those feet to have full contact with the wall. We'll take one more big breath here, and as you exhale, bend the left knee this time, drawing it toward the left knee toward the left shoulder. Hands can be interlaced on top of the knee or behind the knee. Again, if you have any low back discomfort, bend your right knee to protect your low back. And we begin to move into some rotations, both clockwise and counterclockwise. Moving into flexion by drawing the toes toward the body and away. And coming back to stillness, placing the right hand on top of the left knee and helping to glide across the body as you come into supine twist. Left arm comes out to the side, gazing across your body toward your left palm as the knee falls to the right. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. We inhale back to center, hug that knee in one more time, open up through the left hip, and then extend the leg long, walking the hands up the back line and leg. Sole of the foot reaches up toward the ceiling. As you exhale, release arm and leg, full body stretch. Reach it long, reach it strong, extend out, open so much. And this time we'll draw both knees into the body. Rock from side to side or front to back. Let your low back release.
Coming back to stillness, and then reaching in between the thighs for either the ankles or the heels, coming into happy baby. As you come into happy baby, the knees are drawing toward the mat, soles of the feet reaching up toward the ceiling, tailbones rooted. And if you'd like some movement, you can begin to rock from side to side if that feels good. Go ahead and bring this to stillness. We'll draw both knees together and we'll roll onto your side and begin to bring yourself into an upright position. So coming into table position. Now as we come into table position, I'm going to begin to move through a few rounds of cat and cow. And I'll come to this side of the mat so you can kind of watch along it at home. So as we come into table position, wrists directly underneath the shoulders, knees about hip distance apart directly underneath the hips. We're going to start by inhaling and exhaling. And then we'll take one more breath. And as we inhale, we'll draw the breath into the lower abdominals. Allow the belly to hollow as the spine begins to round. Pause here. And then with the next inhale, direct the chest for the gate of the shoulders, head and neck move with the spine. Go ahead and move through a few rounds of cat and cow, really feeling the articulation of your spine as you breathe in and out of these different postures. As you continue to move between cat and cow, if there's any other kind of movement your body's calling out for, you begin to move into a nice vinyasa flow, incorporating child's pose into this if that feels good to you. You can also begin to make some C curves from side to side. You can also come into some hip glides, some barrel rolls. So finding a little bit of movement here that feels really good to you. You've got about 3 more rounds of breath here, so follow the natural instincts of your body to allow your body to move just a bit. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. We're going to go ahead and take this into our first child's pose. Big nose, big nose. Big toes come together, knees can be close together, wide apart, or somewhere in the middle. And then just allow the hips to release toward the heels. We'll walk the arms out in front, creating some space underneath the armpits, allowing the body to settle into this pose. Chin or forehead releases toward your mat. And we'll start with an active child's pose. Take a moment or two here. If this is feeling pretty good, you can stay here. You can bring your arms to your side bodies, coming into a surrendering child's pose. You can also stack your hands and rest your head on your stacked hands. And then you can also begin to place your hands in prayer position behind the back of the head. So you can find one of those spaces that feels right today. We've got about 3 more rounds of breath here. Last 2. And last 1, we go ahead and bring it right back to center. Now as we begin to move into the next part of this practice, we're going to be at the wall again. So we're going to be coming into table position, but I want you to have enough closeness to the wall that you can begin to extend your right leg back. So you want to have contact with the wall. We're going to drop that right hip to square hips to the front of our mat. We're going to pause here for a moment or two. Then go ahead and walk that leg up the wall about hip height. Toes are pointing directly down, getting that nice deep stretch across the back line of the leg. And breathe. And then if you want to add more, you can begin to bring the left arm. So we have right leg, left arm, gaze is down, spine is long. And release. Go ahead and walk your leg back down the wall, and we'll come back together. Stepping back this time with the left leg, pressing the ball into the mat, into the wall, opening up through the back line of the leg, and staying here for just a moment or two. And then go ahead and walk the left leg up the wall, toes pointing directly down, and you're extending that leg directly out from the hip. And we're going to get that nice deep stretch here. And breathe. And then if you want to add more, you can begin to bring the right arm. So we have left leg, right arm, core is engaged, spine is nice and long, gaze is down. Gaze is down. And release. We'll walk that leg back down the wall, and then we'll go ahead and bring both knees to center.
Now, as we come into this practice, we're going to begin to use the wall pretty much primarily through this practice. So we're going to come into downward facing dog with our heels on the wall. So go ahead and walk your feet back toward the wall. So you want your heels up the wall. The knees are bent. And in this practice, you'll notice that you have a much more narrow stance to your dog. And that's very natural with this. It just gives you a little different sensation in your body as you come into down dog. So there's a lot of ways that you can come into dog. This is a really nice way to have using the wall as a prop to get a little bit different attention with your body. So we're going to roll the fingertips to the palms of the hands. The fingers are spread nice and wide, pressing the ring and the thumb into the mat, engaging the arms as you take the energy up through the arms, letting the shoulders roll back and down. Bend your knees, and when you're ready, send the sit bones high for down dog. I'm going to take a moment here and just begin to feel the sensation of your body as you breathe in and out. Crown releases toward the earth. I'm just going to hang out here for a few rounds of breath. Let your shoulders widen and roll down the back. Nice long spine. I'm going to take this into three-legged dog, and then we're going to take this into standing split. So go ahead and begin to walk the right leg up the wall. Good. And then if you want to add more to your practice, you can begin to walk your hands closer back toward your leg. This takes us into a much deeper opening. So again, finding that just right space for your body. And breathe. And then we'll go ahead and walk it right back down. Coming into three-legged dog and walking your leg down the wall, coming back into down dog. We're going to do that on the other side, walking this time the left leg up, coming into three-legged dog. That left hip is releasing down. Get that nice stretch in your body. And if you want to add more, you begin to walk your hands back toward your standing leg. So a nice strong stretch here. So if this is not where you are today, that's okay. And we'll go ahead and walk it back. Walk that leg back down the wall. We come back into downward facing dog. Take a pause here. Go ahead and drop to the knees and release the hips toward the heels. We've got 3 breaths in child's pose. If you need to rotate through the wrists, now's a good time to release the wrists just a bit if you need to. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. Let's go ahead and inhale, bring it back to center. From here, we're going to come into down dog once again. But this time, we're going to be coming into more of a traditional down dog. So you can go ahead and walk away from the wall. And I'm changing the position of my body so you can see a little bit better if you are watching from home. So from here, we'll roll the fingertips to the palms of the hands. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Engage the ring and the thumb. And then let that movement of energy travel up through the arms, letting the shoulders roll back and down. Tuck your toes, bend your knees, and send those sit bones high for down dog. And so now we come into mobile dog. We can have a little bit of movement after we've had some time to be in those other different positions. And come back and forth between plank and dog. So just finding a little bit of fluid movement. Get about 5 rounds of breath just to find that just right movement. Last 3. Last 2. And last 1. Let's go ahead and walk the hands back toward the feet as we come into Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Yep, I'm still in the shot. Shoulders roll back and down, gaze is down, chest draws to the gate of the shoulders. So, nice long spine, feeling the openness of your hamstrings. And if you need to take a little bend here, you can certainly take a bend. So coming into the spaces that feel best for you. We'll take one more breath here, and then inhale, exhale, keep in forward fold. Allow the torso to melt over the legs. And if this feels like it's quite intense, you can certainly bend through the knees here. And the more you bend through the knees, the more of a decompression you get through the spine. So depending on where you need to be in your practice, maybe you need more hamstrings, maybe you need more decompression through the spine. Go ahead and shake your head no, nod your head yes, release all those tiny muscles. And then finding a placement for your arms, either grabbing onto opposite elbows. You can wrap your hands behind the back of your legs. You can walk the feet, the hands under the feet for gorilla. So you've got a little bit of time to play here, so you can find that space that feels right. 3 more rounds of breath. Last 2.
And last one. Go ahead and release your arms to your side. Keep the knees bent. And inhale, draw the arms up overhead. Palms come together. Exhale, release, heart space. And then, ideally, if you have blocks, those of you who have blocks can join along with me. If you don't have blocks, maybe in time you add those to your collection. So this is a time where the soft blocks really kind of come in handy because we're using them on the body, and books can be a little bit challenging. So do what you can with what you have. So we're going to actually start with a block between the ankles and a block between the thighs. So what this does is it helps to align the ankles, the knees, and the hips. So putting our bodies back in proper alignment. So many times in life, we move through different injuries or different situations and we come out of alignment. So as you're coming back into alignment, sometimes using the props or the tools to get your body back in line can be a little bit uncomfortable. Go ahead and try to work with that as best as you can. So again, if this is totally not your thing today, then you can just omit the blocks, but this does help to give you that proper alignment. So working with this, one thing you may notice, and I'll turn to the side so you can take a peek at my spine, is as I draw the blocks together, so there's slight internal rotation, it draws the tailbone down, coming into a neutral spine. So many times we're here or really tucked. This helps to align the body right in that neutral plane. So natural curvature of the spine as the thighs slightly draw together to squeeze in that block. Tailbone releases down, crown reaches away from the tailbone, nice long spine. Go ahead and roll the shoulders back and down, and then reach the fingertips toward the earth and rotate the palms outward. We've got about 3 rounds of breath here, just to feel really awkward with your blocks. Last 2, and last breath. Let's go ahead and release, and we'll set the blocks out to the side. And we're going to begin to come back to the wall. So we're going to come into a chair hold here. So moving into Utkatasana chair, but at the wall, which is a really, really nice way to have a nice deep practice. So again, if you have blocks, you can use them. If you don't have blocks here, you can go without blocks. But what I like about the blocks is, again, it keeps your proper alignment between the ankles, the knees, and the hips. So really keeping your body in nice alignment. So again, if you have the blocks, great. If you don't, sometimes even using a pillow might work here. So I want you to walk away from the wall as much as you need to. If you have longer legs, you're going to come farther away from the wall. Placing a block, if you have one, in between the ankles and one in between the thighs. You're going to inhale, and as you exhale, we're just going to slide down that wall, coming into a 90 degree bend. So we have ankles underneath the knees, and then we have, again, we look at the ankles, knees, and hips all in one nice long line. We're drawing those blocks together. Shoulder blades are rolling back and down. The elbows are resting underneath the elbows. Elbows are resting underneath the shoulders, that's it. And we're just hanging out here for a little bit. So really squeeze those blocks together. Root your feet into the earth. Got about 5 rounds of breath here. And I think I might move that mat out of the way because I think it's slipping. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. We go ahead and straighten back up. Go ahead and set the block to the side, and just go ahead and cascade your body over your legs. Go ahead and shake your head no, nod your head yes, let it go. We're going to do that one more time. A couple more times actually. Block goes back in between the legs. Inhale, and as you exhale, we come back down. As we come into our second set, if you want to begin to add a little bit more to this practice, you can begin to bring the arms up overhead. Keep squeezing those blocks together. Keep your breath flowing. So if you feel this is quite intense, try not to hold the breath. Try to keep yourself breathing through this. Relax those shoulders. And we've got about 5 more rounds of breath here. Keep squeezing those blocks. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. We bring it back down. Go ahead and set your block to the side, and we again come into that nice hanging forward fold, just letting your body release from that. Good. And then we're going to come into another chair sit, but we're going to add a little bit more of this. So if you want to add more, you can certainly begin to go there. So we're going to begin to remove those blocks. See if you can maintain that same spacing between your body, so about hip distance between the feet. We're going to slide down the wall, and then, if my mat doesn't slip, we're going to begin to cross the right leg over the left. letting that knee fall out to the side. So very similar work that we were doing at the wall, making a nice number 4. So you're really gonna feel that strongly, or you probably will feel that quite strongly. And then release. We're gonna come to the other side, so there we go. We're gonna begin to cross the left leg over the right, letting that knee fall out to the side. And breathe. Press evenly between the ball and the heel, activate the sole of the foot. And release. And then we'll do that one more time on each side. So maybe coming a little deeper in your chair, crossing the right leg over the left, pressing evenly between the ball and the heel. And release. And then crossing the left leg over the right, pressing evenly between the ball and the heel. And let that knee just fall out to the side, opening up through that hip. And release. Go ahead and straighten out through the legs. And again, just come into that nice forward fold. Just let yourself release from that. Good. And then go ahead and bring it back to center. And open up through the upper body just a bit. And then we're going to come into a little bit more stronger holds here. We're going to start with the left side of the body toward the wall. We're going to inhale the left arm up. And then begin to walk your body closer toward the wall. And then let your left arm just begin to walk behind your body as much as you're able. Now, if you want more shoulder opening here, you can begin to square your hips more with your gaze that's straight away. So again, coming into that space that you need. About 3 more rounds of breath here, 3 to 5. Last 3. Last 2. And last breath. Go ahead and bring your arm back to center. Go ahead and bring the other arm, and then just take a nice stretch, opening up underneath the armpits. And then we rotate around to the other side. So bringing your hips as close as you need to. And then again, begin to walk that arm right behind your body. Square your hips as much as you're able with your gaze straight away. About 5 more rounds of breath here. Last 3. Last 2. And last